All right, so first we're going to talk about the components of your aquarium and kind of getting ready to set it up. So you want to bring everything over to where your tank is going to live for the entire year. And if you have a tank stand and you're sure that it can support the weight of your tank, you can set it on there. A lot of sturdy school countertops can also hold your tank, but they do weigh like 400 pounds and they're full of water. So it's really hard to move them once we get them set up. But so your components of your tank are a tank stand if you have it. Again, sturdy countertop is fine. And then you have a 55-gallon tank. You'll notice some white kind of markings on here. That's just some calcium deposits. That's not a huge deal, not super harmful for your fish. If they do bother you, or you just want to make sure kids can see really cleanly into it, you can clean those off with vinegar, ideally at the end of the school year, so the fish aren't going to have any vinegar in the tank. And then you'll also have two lids. Usually they're folding lids. Different aquarium models can look a little bit different. Some people have lids that look a little bit different than this, but those just sit right on top. And then you have your chiller. Again, there's a couple different models of chillers that some schools have, just depending on when you got your tank, but it'll look something like this. And then you have a canister filter, which is this one right here. And then as part of your filter inside, you have a little grate and then 3 baskets that look close to this. Again, different models look slightly different. They don't all have these handles, but 3 baskets that sit cleanly on top. And then you also have what we call the filter media. And depending on how you took down your tank, these might be inside your filter or you might have them outside. But you should have 3 pieces of white foam. It is okay to reuse this if it's not like super compressed or really, really dirty. And then same with, you should have 1 piece of black foam. Again, okay to reuse if it is not super compressed or really dirty. This one that we're using is pretty old, just for demonstration purposes. And then the last piece of filter media is charcoal rocks. So you should have a little bag of charcoal rocks as well. And then another piece that connects to the filter when everything's all set up is the intake basket. So this is the intake basket, and then it's got this long tube that connects to it. Usually when we take tanks down, we leave them kind of connected like this. And this is where water comes up from the tank into the filter. The next piece of tubing you have is the spray bar. And so when we get to kind of setting everything up, this is basically going to put the cooled water from the chiller back into the tank. It also adds a little bit of oxygen by kind of disturbing the surface of the water there. And it's got these little holes in it. And these come apart so you can make it longer or shorter, but you just want to make sure the holes are lined up and that you have a couple suction cups to keep it attached to the bottom of, or the top of your tank, excuse me. The next piece of equipment we have is the aerator. So this right here is the aerator. Again, there's a couple different models, but it should look something like this, kind of a small structure with a long extension cord on it. And then it'll have these clear pieces of tubing, so it's really small tubing. And then those will connect to 2 air stones. There's a bunch of different kinds and models of air stones, so yours might not look exactly like this, but essentially these will add lots of oxygen into the water for your tank. So those just connect to the tubing, which then connect to the aerator. All right, and then you will also have 3 pieces of large soft tubing. And so those all connect to different things. So this will connect to the filter, and we'll go over all the connection points in a minute. But you should have 2 pieces of tubing that have these ports on them. So with these kind of things that twist and these valves, you should have 2 of those. And then this last one will be how water comes out of the chiller. So it's got a different connection point there. And then right here, and this is what connects to the spray bar that I showed you earlier. All right, and then you should also have at least 1, ideally 2 or 3 5-gallon buckets. It's really important that they have never been used for any cleaning agents, any soaps, anything like that. That can be really detrimental to your fish. So have designated buckets for your tank. You can label them, try to make sure facility staff know not to use them. And then you should also have at least 1 aquarium net In your Salmon Tank Manual, I mentioned some grants you can apply for to get more supplies. And so that would be a great one to use to buy extra buckets. You can get bigger aquarium nets, ones with really long handles, so you can reach all the way into the bottom of the tank, or with just a bigger net in general, so it's easier to scoop out your fish for your field trip. Another extra component you could buy is a portable aerator. This is great in case of emergency. So this is battery powered. So similar to the aerator that I showed you over here, it's got 2 tubes that connect to it and then 2 small stones. And then it works, so I just turned it on, you probably can't hear it, but it works battery powered. So you can charge it and use it up. So if you have an emergency, a power outage, or if you're traveling a long ways for your field trip in the spring, this is a great extra thing to buy. I think the most recommended things that I could tell you to buy if you do get extra funding would be a water quality testing kit. This is the most thorough one that we like to use. Strip tests are fine. We try to do at least a 5-in-1 or a 7-in-1, so you get the most that you can test the most parameters for. But so water quality testing kit, super helpful for maintaining the health of your tank. Another thing is a siphon vacuum. So this can help you get debris and stuff at the bottom of the tank. If debris sits there, that can be fish waste or uneaten food. It can kind of fester and create a lot of water quality issues that are harder to treat than they are to prevent. So this is another great piece. This and the water quality testing kit, highly recommend. Something else you'll probably want is access to plenty of outlets, or ideally a power strip with a surge protector to protect your tank from any issues if there's power outages, because you'll need plugs for the filter, the chiller, and the air stone. So a power strip is great, and then also you can move this out of the way to make sure no water drips in here causing any electrical issues. Okay, so now that you have all of your components out, you make sure that nothing is missing or broken. If you do have things that are missing or broken, please let me know. But once you have everything ready, then you can fill it up. So if you are lucky enough to have a hose that you can connect, that's great. Otherwise, you can use, again, your clean 5-gallon buckets that have never been used for cleaning agents. Same for the hoses that you use as well. You can use those to fill up the water, and we're gonna try to fill it up to just below this black part on the end of the tank. So I usually fill it up to like about here or so. It's okay to leave a little bit of wiggle room, but you don't want to be leaving it too low. You really want your fish to have plenty of water. So about here, like maybe 3 fingers from the top is a great goal there. Okay, so we used our 5-gallon buckets to fill it up. We used about 10 buckets, and see there's just about 3 fingers worth of space between the water level and this black line. So you want to get it kind of close to that black line as I mentioned. And then once you have it filled up, you want to put 1 full capful of prime into the tank before you move on to the next steps. And we'll outline the next steps and kind of getting everything connected in our next video.